Back in the bathroom, I slipped into the dress. The tights clung smoothly to my legs, the cardigan soft against my arms. When I stepped out, the room erupted into approving smiles. "Now you really look like Alyssa," Mia said, fastening a small silver hair clip above my ear. I tried to protest, but the words caught in my throat. Looking in the mirror, the name didn't feel so foreign anymore. As we sat down to breakfast, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd passed some invisible point of no return. And when Emma leaned over and whispered, "Tonight, we'll see if you're ready for the second task," I realized something unsettling. Part of me wanted to know what came next. The morning drifted by in a haze of chatter, pastries, and casual compliments about my new look. But around noon, Emma stood and clapped her hands, signaling a shift in the air. "Okay, Alyssa. Time for your second task." Her tone was light, but there was no mistaking the undercurrent of intent. She handed me another folded card. "Task 2. You're going to the cafe on Maple Street. Order something. Sit. Smile. Stay in character." I stared at the words. "Stay in character? You mean, like this?" Mia tilted her head. "Not like this. As you, Alyssa." I wanted to laugh it off, but the seriousness in their eyes stopped me. "And what if someone I know sees me?" "Then they'll meet Alyssa," Sophie said simply, as though it was the most natural thing in the world. 20 minutes later, I found myself walking down Maple Street between Mia and Emma, my ballet flats tapping lightly against the sidewalk. Every step felt amplified, the swish of the dress, the gentle pull of the cardigan sleeves. The cafe door chimed as we stepped inside, the warm scent of coffee and cinnamon surrounding me. My pulse pounded as we approached the counter. The barista, a guy around our age, smiled politely. "What can I get for you?" I froze for half a second before Mia's gentle nudge reminded me of the task. Iced vanilla latte," I managed, my voice softer than usual. He typed in the order, glanced at me again, and said, "Name for the cup?" My heart thudded. I could feel Mia's eyes on me. "Alyssa," I said. We sat by the window, and I tried to keep my breathing steady as people came and went. Nobody stared. Nobody laughed. The world didn't end. When the barista called Alyssa and set my drink on the counter, I walked up to get it and noticed his smile lingered a second longer than necessary. Back at the table, Mia leaned in. "You did great." Emma sipped her tea. "Better than great. You passed." "Passed what?" I asked, but they just exchanged that same knowing glance I'd seen before. On the walk back, the weight of what had just happened hit me. I'd gone out in public as Alyssa, and it hadn't felt like pretending. Which is why, when Emma said, "Tonight's the third task, and it's the biggest one yet," I didn't say no. By late afternoon, the air inside Emma's house felt charged, like everyone was waiting for something to happen. The laughter was softer now, the whispers quieter, and all of it seemed to circle back to me. Finally, as the sun began to sink, Emma brought out the last folded card. It was heavier than the others, sealed with a small lavender wax stamp that matched my bracelet charm. I broke the seal and read aloud. "Task 3. Join us at the harvest dance tonight. Dress accordingly. No turning back." My stomach flipped. "Dance? You mean like a school dance?" Mia shook her head. "No, the harvest dance. It's different." In the guest room, they had laid out a whole new outfit, a flowing wine-colored dress, soft stockings, low-heeled shoes, and a delicate pendant necklace with the same lavender gem as my bracelet. I touched the fabric. "This is a lot for just a dance." "It's not just a dance," Sophie said from the doorway. "It's where we introduce you to everyone else." Those words followed me as they helped with my hair and makeup. This time, the transformation felt intentional in a way it hadn't before. Every curl, every brushstroke chosen with care. By the time I stood in front of the mirror, I didn't just see Alyssa. I saw someone who belonged to them. The venue wasn't far, a converted barn strung with golden fairy lights, music drifting into the crisp night air. People were already dancing when we arrived, moving in pairs and small groups, their outfits ranging from casual to formal. Mia took my hand. "Ready?" Before I could answer, she led me inside, weaving through the crowd until we reached a cluster of people I didn't recognize. "This is Alyssa," Mia announced. The group smiled in unison, and one of them, a tall girl with striking green eyes, stepped forward. "Welcome. We've been expecting you." "Expecting me?" My chest tightened, but the green-eyed girl's gaze was warm, almost reassuring. "We all started the same way," she said. "One night, one pact, one new name. Tonight, you're officially one of us." For the rest of the evening, I danced, laughed, and met people who treated me as though I'd always been Alyssa. Yet underneath the music and lights, I felt the unshakable weight of what the green-eyed girl had said, one new name. When the night ended, Emma slipped something small into my hand, a tiny key on a lavender ribbon. "For when you're ready," she whispered. Back at Emma's house, the night was winding down. The other girls changed into comfy pajamas and began tidying up, but I just sat on the edge of the bed in the guest room, the tiny key dangling from its lavender ribbon in my hand. It was too small for a door, maybe for a box or a drawer. But the weight of it felt disproportionate, like it carried more than just metal. A soft knock came at the door. Mia stepped in, closing it behind her. "Can't sleep?" she asked. I shook my head. "What's this for?" I held up the key. She hesitated, then smiled faintly. "It's not for now. It's for when you're ready to let go of the last piece of Alex." The way she said it sent a ripple down my spine. Later, when everyone was asleep, curiosity gnawed at me. I padded quietly down the hall toward Emma's room. She'd left her desk drawer slightly open. My heart pounded as I slid the key inside the tiny lock on the corner compartment. It clicked open with almost no effort. Inside was a small stack of envelopes, each with a name written in looping script. Sophie, Lena, Harper, all names I recognized from tonight's dance. And one envelope with my new name, Alyssa. I slid it halfway out. The flap wasn't sealed. My fingers itched to open it, but something in me hesitated. Behind me, a voice whispered, "It's not time." I spun around to see Sophie standing in the doorway, her expression unreadable. "Those letters are for when you've made your choice," she said softly. "And once you read yours, you can't go back." Back in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about the envelopes. If they each had one, what did mine say? Was it instructions? A confession? A goodbye to Alex? By morning, the key still lay on my nightstand, the lavender ribbon curling beside it. Emma appeared in the doorway, smiling like nothing was unusual. "Ready for your final task?" she asked. Final task. The words both thrilled and terrified me. The living room was different that morning, quieter, the usual chatter replaced with an expectant hush. Everyone was dressed, hair done, as if this wasn't just another lazy day after a sleepover but something planned. Emma stood in the center, holding a small lavender box that matched the charm on my bracelet. "Alyssa," she said, her voice carrying through the room. "It's time." Mia gestured for me to sit in the circle. The others formed around me, leaving just enough space for Emma to place the box in front of me. "This," she continued, "is your final task. Open it." I lifted the lid slowly, my breath catching when I saw what lay inside, my envelope from last night. Alyssa written in that same looping script. "You've been holding on to Alex," Mia said gently. "This letter will tell you how to let go." My hands hovered over it. "And if I don't want to?" Sophie's eyes softened. "Then you walk away. We won't stop you. But you can never come back." The room felt heavier with each heartbeat. The choice was suddenly real, irreversible. I glanced at the door. If I left now, I could go home, wash off the makeup, shove the lavender bracelet in a drawer, and pretend this never happened. But even the thought felt hollow. Emma's voice broke the silence. "It's not about losing yourself, Alyssa. It's about finding the self you've been afraid to meet." My fingers slid under the flap. For a moment, I hesitated, listening to the faint sound of my own pulse in my ears. Then I tore it open. Inside was a single card. "Welcome home. Tonight, you'll be introduced as Alyssa for good." When I looked up, the girls were smiling, not giddy or teasing, but warmly, like they'd been waiting for me to see something they'd known all along. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. But as I traced my name on the card, I realized I wasn't thinking about Alex anymore. That evening, the girls dressed me in an outfit unlike anything I'd worn before. A soft ivory dress that moved with every step, a matching ribbon in my hair, and the lavender charm on my bracelet catching the light. It didn't feel like costume anymore. It felt mine. We walked together to the same barn where the harvest dance had been, but tonight it was different, quieter, candlelit, the music slower and warmer. As soon as we stepped inside, I realized everyone was looking at me. Not in curiosity, but in recognition. Like I belonged. Emma led me to the center of the floor. "Everyone," she called out, her voice steady. "This is Alyssa. She's one of us now." The crowd clapped softly, some nodding like they understood something I still didn't. I felt heat rush to my cheeks, not from embarrassment, but from a strange sense of rightness. After the applause faded, the green-eyed girl from before stepped forward. "The pact isn't about changing who you are," she said, her voice low enough for only me to hear. "It's about letting the truth be seen." I wanted to ask what truth she meant, but she pressed something small into my palm, a second key, identical to the first. "When you're ready," she whispered, "you'll know what it opens." The rest of the night blurred into laughter, dancing, and the easy comfort of being called Alyssa without hesitation. Somewhere between the music and the smiles, I stopped thinking about what Alex would say. By the time we left, the two keys sat warm in my hand, their lavender ribbons twisting together. I didn't know what they would unlock, but for the first time, I wasn't afraid to find out. It had been a week since the night at the barn. A week since I'd heard my name, Alyssa, spoken more times than Alex ever was. The first key stayed on my bracelet, the lavender ribbon tied neatly. The second I kept hidden in the pocket of my cardigan, a secret even from the girls. Life outside the group felt muted. Friends at school noticed I was quieter, but they didn't press. They couldn't have guessed that my weekends were now spent in a world they'd never see. And I didn't tell them, not because I was hiding it, but because I wanted to keep it. One rainy Saturday, I found myself back in Emma's guest room. The first key was warm in my palm as I unlocked the tiny drawer in her desk. Inside, my envelope still sat among the others. But this time I reached for a different one. "Harper." I opened it, just a single line inside. "Give the second key to the one you choose." That night, as we sat in a circle laughing about something trivial, my eyes drifted to Sophie. She caught my gaze, her smile knowing but patient. For the first time, I realized the pact wasn't about recruitment. It was about continuation, passing on the moment that changes everything. When the laughter faded and the candles burned low, I slipped the second key into Sophie's hand. She closed her fingers around it without a word, but the look in her eyes told me she understood. The circle was unbroken. And now, I was part of it.